Can't Play Boxing Podcast. We back in the building. Episode 39. So what's happening? Everybody, got a nice little episode. We got, we're going to talk about Terence Crawford, upcoming fight this week. We're going to talk about Devin Haney fight from last weekend. We're going to talk about Canelo. We're going to talk about lots of good things. So before we dive into that, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about the house cleaning, get that out the way. So number one, catch us on Instagram at You Can't Play Boxing. That's You Can't Play Boxing. Check us out on also YouTube, You Can't Play Boxing Podcast. Check us out on Twitter, You Can't Play Boxing. Check us out on our website, can'tplayboxing.com. So, we got all of that out. Check us out on all the platforms. Of course, if you're listening, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We global. All right, y'all. So, man, it's been a crazy week since last time I talked to y'all. We seemingly... Well, nah, hold up. Before we get into that, this past weekend, unfortunately, something that happens far too often happened. And, a young man and his friends got killed in Atlanta. Rapper King Von. And, we saying condolences to King Von, but also recognizing that this scenario is something that happens far too often in our community. And I ain't saying the black community or white community, because in reality, it's our communities. Like, if I can see you on a regular basis, or if you see me, we part of the same community. Sometimes we kind of try to say black community, white community. And yeah, sometimes we don't stay by each other, but we all part of the same community. So unfortunately, the shooting that happens far too often. And I want to just, have a moment of silence for King Von and two young men that passed away during the shooting. But it's something that happens all over. So I want to have moment of silence to everybody that's been affected by gun violence, that are oftentimes could have been solved a different way. So have a moment of silence for everybody involved. All right, so like I was say earlier, man, we seemingly in this past week, we got a president-elect that's been projected by the media companies, and don't get me wrong, Joe Biden is leading. However, I don't put nothing past Donald Trump, man. Until he's been certified the winner. Don't think for 1 second that Donald Trump is sitting back and like, oh yeah, I'm okay with this result. They're trying to pull strings. If there's a loophole, they're trying to find that loophole. So, we'll see how it goes. Shout out to Joe Biden, if he's our president-elect. I think that it's time for change. If we get that change. However, I'm not just ignorant to the fact that things are probably going on behind the scenes that we don't know about to possibly change what we think may be one result. Until everything is finalized, it could be a different result, you know what I'm saying? So it's been a crazy president election. Hopefully we get to resolve this once and for all pretty quickly and move on to something else. So what we're going to do, I'm going to get into this next topic because this show is really kind of going by fast. We get into this next topic. We're going to talk about Canelo. Biggest free agent out there right now. So if you don't know, Golden Boy Promotions, who Canelo has been with since he turned pro, they released Canelo due to the contract. I know we spoke about it a few episodes back on With My Money episode. I think that was like about 5 or 6 episodes ago, where we talked about the lawsuit that Canelo had against Golden Boy. And the lawsuit, they were, trying to settle things. Canelo sued Golden Boy and sued DAZN, who gave him the biggest contract, 11 fights, $365 million. It was the biggest contract in sports at the time. And Canelo sued because they didn't want to live up to the contract. There were things about fights that they thought they were going to get, like Triple G and Canelo, didn't pan out, and they didn't feel the need, especially on top of the coronavirus, to pay $36 million a fight for something that's not moving in the needle. So from Canelo's stance, he's like, hey, I had a contract. Yeah, I'm not living up to the contract. So he sued him, rightfully so. And they decided to settle out of court. And part of the settlement is that he's going to be released from Golden Boy, be able to be a free agent, also released out of that DAZN contract. And it's real interesting. Because Canelo, he's going to be the biggest free agent out there. And it's a lot of ways that he can play this. He can be self-promotion. He's big enough to where he can call the shots like Floyd Mayweather did. And this is not an original thought. This is something that was an ESPN boxing site. So I want to shout out them. I don't want to say, because that's the exact word, so I don't want to just bite their shit and not give them credit for it. But they were spot on though. Canelo can be like Floyd Mayweather in the second part of his career, where he called the shots and he made the most money, and they went to him. He's big enough to do that. He's proven himself to do that. I mean, whatever you want to say about Canelo, his resume is 100. 2 fights against Triple G. A fight against Kovalev. Landy Lara. Austin Trout. Floyd Mayweather. He got a resume that's impeccable. Only got 1 loss, you know what I'm saying? So whatever you want to say, Canelo is that dude. So he can start calling the shots for himself. He's put himself in a position to do that. And it's going to be interesting. I think he can go that route. He can also go the route of joining PBC. If you go to PBC, he can fight the Charlo brothers. Both of them, really, if you want to. He got Caleb Plant, who may be his next opponent, which is interesting because Caleb Plant is pretty good as super middleweight. So I think PBC could be a good option, and if that Caleb Plant story and bout is true, I can see Canelo possibly getting with Al Heyman and let Al Heyman advise him and do the business under his moniker, undo the business under Canelo's moniker, you know what I'm saying? So that could be an option. The last option as far as going to Top Rank, I don't think that's I don't think that's the likely move. I don't know anything, but also I don't think that's the best move for Canelo. He's bigger than top rank. You know what I'm saying? At this point, he doesn't need top rank. You know, and I can't tell him how to do his business because he's made millions of dollars, and you know, he don't need my help in order to make other millions of dollars as long as he performs in the ring. So I think he'll probably either do his own thing or he'll align himself with Al Heyman and have Al Heyman advise him and just do kind of similar to like what Manny Pacquiao was able to do. Al Heyman can be the advisor. If you want to, if you want to do a couple fights, you can. But if you want to move on your own, you can too. So that might be a similar thing for Canelo. We'll see, but it's gonna be interesting. That Caleb Plant fight would be a good fight. So I'm looking forward to see how that goes. So what we gonna do? Take a quick break. We're gonna talk about the Devin Haney fight from this past weekend, and then we're gonna look forward to the fight this upcoming weekend with Terence Crawford versus Kell Brook. Be back in a second after this break. What's up? It's that time of the show where we kind of give a shout out to our sponsors. The sponsor today is Anchor. Anchor is everything you need to create your own podcast. You can use Anchor to distribute your show. They'll kind of get it out for you. And all you have to do is do it from your cell phone or your microphone, however you want to do it. But if you want to get your voice out there, if you want to talk to the people, there's no better place to do it than Anchor. So download the app Anchor or go to their website, anchor.com. It'll distribute your podcast on all platforms. So again, Anchor. Yeah. We're back. You Can't Play Boxing Podcast. I'll be back with the last part of the show. We're going to dive into the fights from last weekend and also the fight that's upcoming. So last weekend, we're not going to spend too much time on it because the fight was boring as shit. But we got, and no disrespect to Devin Haney, terrific fighter. It's just that you had a technical fighter who was strong and who was young, which is Devin Haney, fighting an older fighter who don't want to take chances. So you end up with a fight that's not pleasing to the fans. So that's what I mean by that. I respect both as a fighter because you got to be a real man to get in the ring. No matter what somebody tell you, you're a real man if you get in that ring, especially repeatedly. You feel me? It's no bitch in most fighters. You feel me? So let's get that out the way. But as far as the fight goes, Devin Haney was predicted to win. He was favored to win, and of course he did win. 12 rounds, pretty much a shutout. You could have gave Gamboa maybe 1 or 2 rounds if you're being generous, but, Haney wasn't threatened at all in that fight. So it's interesting because, as we talked about over the past few weeks in the lightweight division, you got Teofimo Lopez. You got Gervonta Davis. You got Ryan Garcia. And where does Devin Haney really fall upon that? He's a good fighter. I'm not gonna say great because he got to be tested. He's a good fighter, but he is not as known as the other fighters, even though his skill set is arguably better than some of them on the same level as most of them. So I think for Devin Haney, he's in a position, bro, where he can be like he can be, if he doesn't make right decisions, he can be where he's considered like a Winky Wright type of fighter before Winky Wright got the break. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool to be a Winky Wright type of fighter. Don't get me wrong, because Winky Wright is a motherfucking Hall of Famer. You feel me? In my mind. But what I'm saying by that is that you got all the skills, however, you don't get your due until later, and then you got a short window to kind of prove. You know what I'm saying? Because Winky Wright was already Winky Wright before he became Winky Wright. You know what I'm saying? What I mean by that is Winky Wright had the skills early. He was showing that. He just never got the opportunity until later. And once he got the opportunity, he took it and then he ran with it, and he showed us what he can do for a number of years. He was already that dude. And so Devin Haney is kind of similar to where he's that dude already. He's growing in, because he's still young. He's growing into becoming that dude. And he got the skill set to do that. It's just that he don't have the notoriety so far. He don't have the star power, the popularity that the other fighters in the division got. Because even with fighting Lomachenko is more known than Devin Haney. So what do you bring to the table? He does have that WBC belt, so that's going to help him out. But basically what I'm saying, to avoid that Winky Wright type thing, he going to have to take on the biggest fighters who can take him. Who and fuck all that, they price themselves out. If you really trying to build your name, you're going to probably have to overpay somebody for their name right now, Devin Haney. And I'm just being real with you. Because your skills are so good, you're going to need to fight the best fighters and just keep adding your resume. I'm like, hey, I knocked out Gary Russell. Or, hey, I beat Gary Russell. I could beat Urokas Gamboa. I beat Lomachenko. Yeah, I gotta fight. You gotta fight the biggest names who will fight you, and like maybe take like a tune-up fight after every third big fight. You know what I'm saying? You got to be on that type of mission, because right now, Ryan Garcia, he got a bigger name than you, even though I don't think he's as talented as you. Javante got a bigger name than you, even though I think in a fight, that would be a hell of a fight. I think you go on the same level as Tank as far as skills-wise, and maybe some things that he got, you don't got, but some things that you got, he definitely don't got. And then when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, I feel like it's not a big, if there is a gap, it's not a big gap. And I think it's just a timing thing on that. Whoever faces each other at a certain time frame, then that's what's going to happen. But I think when it comes to it, I think Devin Haney is definitely one of the better fighters in that 135-pound division. And I think it's just a matter of time before he proves it. But right now, he's in a situation to where he ain't getting that look right now. So we'll see how that goes. But speaking of fights, we got an interesting fight this upcoming weekend, bro. We got Terence Crawford. He fighting Kell Brook. You know what I'm saying? Kell Brook is 39-2. You know, he's been a welterweight champion before. He beat Sean Porter. Gave Errol Spence all he could have. Fought Triple G and gave Triple G all he could have in the first 6 rounds. So Kell Brook has never proven to be weak. He might be worn because when he fought Triple G bust his eye socket. When he fought Errol Spence bust his eye socket. But Kell Brook always fought to the end. Like, he was a handful for Errol Spence. he was a handful. And, you know, he's fighting Terence Crawford. And Terence is a dog. You know what I'm saying? We know he's a dog. And but Terence is smaller than Kell Brook. And Kell Brook is a dog too. That's why I said it's gonna be interesting, because at their heart, at their root, when Terence digs into being a dog, Kell Brook is going to match up with that dog like. So it's going to be about skill to a certain extent. But for what he got in skill, Kell Brook may have in size. So I don't think this is an easy fight for Terence Crawford. If you asking me who's going to win, I'll say Terence Crawford, but he's going to have to dig deep. I'll say he's going to probably, in that the last 3 rounds, going to like the 9th or 10th round, I think that fight is going to probably be either tied or Kell Brook is in it. And Terence Crawford going to need those last 2 rounds to solidify. I think he got enough dog in him, and he's fresh enough to where he's going to be able to do it. But it's not going to be an easy fight. Kell Brook is not somebody who just lays down. So I'll say this ahead of time. If Terence Crawford gets Kell Brook out of there in less than 10 rounds, I'm really looking differently at my prediction when he ultimately fights Errol Spence. This is a big test for Terence Crawford because he's fighting somebody who has, while Kell Brook doesn't have the skills and the freshness that Errol Spence have, they both are dogs. So I'm looking at how does Terence Crawford match up with another dog in the ring, because that's ultimately what's going to happen when you fight Errol Spence. He fight another dog. It's just this time he's fighting a dog who's been a little worn. But hey, we don't know how worn Errol Spence is going to be after that car crash. So, that's going to be interesting. So, I think Terence Crawford should win this fight, but it's going to be very interesting. The fight is this Saturday on ESPN. So, we all want to check that out. And, it's exciting. We got a few more fights this year. Like I said, we got Errol Spence on December 5th. I think Tyson Fury December 5th. Anthony Joshua in December also. So it's a lot more boxing to happen. But right now, what we're going to do, we're going to wrap up this episode. As I said earlier, you can check me out and check out the podcast information on Instagram at You Can't Play Boxing. You can check out the YouTube at You Can't Play Boxing. Check out the Twitter, You Can't Play Boxing. And check out the website, can'tplayboxing.com. So, until next time, I want everybody out there to for real. Be safe, stay safe. Stay out the way, because we're going to get through this, y'all. So, until next time, y'all. Peace.